Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and in today's video, I want to talk about The Rise of Skywalker. So hey guys, thank you for coming back to the channel. In today's video, like I said, we're going to talk about Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I'm going to tell you right at this moment, there are going to be spoilers. If you don't want to have your movie spoiled, please turn off this review, turn off this video right now. Come back to it after you've seen the movie, because I think the only really fair way to talk about this is to dive into some of the spoilers and things that, you may not know if you haven't seen the movie. So, spoiler review at... So we definitely have a spoiler review coming here. If you haven't seen Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, get out now. If you don't care, that's one thing, but don't complain in the comments about spoilers. I'm letting everybody know off the bat. Now, this is a different video than what I usually do. I usually do Blu-ray 4K home theater reviews, but there's some interesting aspects of The Rise of Skywalker I want to talk about in that vein, and I want to talk about the movie because it's been a really hot topic online. If you do like movies and home theater and collecting movies, please subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it. We're on our way to 50,000. We just crossed 20,000. The next goal is by the end of 2020, we have 50,000 subscribers, so I can't do that without your guys' help, so please subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and let's try to get this video up over 1,000 likes. Now, I'm going to jump in the review one last time. Spoilers here, so turn it off if you don't want this movie to be spoiled. So Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker getting really mixed reviews online and getting a lot of hate from people that I think honestly is a little undeserved. So in this new trilogy of The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, first of all, I think that Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker are actually fairly good Star Wars movies. I did not like The Last Jedi. I did a review on it a couple years ago. Didn't like The Last Jedi at all. And that's what bothers me about this trilogy, is that it feels like we got our New Hope. It feels like we got our Return of the Jedi. And my favorite, Empire Strikes Back, that middle movie that kind of connects some dots and really gets you excited for the last one in the series, just never happened because The Last Jedi, in my eyes, was a total failure and almost took the story right off the tracks. But I think The Rise of Skywalker puts it back solidly on the tracks. And so, I'm not going to say this is the best Star Wars movie, but honestly, I think The Rise of Skywalker is better than at least two of the prequels and better than The Last Jedi. And so, is it better than the original trilogy? No, but it is a fun, very good Star Wars movie. Now, the thing I liked about it personally was the mythology that they kind of explored with the Sith and the Jedi. You never really learn much about the background of the Sith and the Emperor and Palpatine and what's kind of going on there and their hidden planet and all these different things that they're working on in the background. You just kind of hear, oh, it's the Sith, it's the Sith, it's the bad guys. And in this movie, they expand on that a little more. You get to see some of the inside workings of the Sith and kind of how Palpatine was able to build up this huge following. And it is actually pretty creepy at some points. There are some scary moments where it's like, okay, I'm a grown adult, I'm not scared by this, but like, there could be moments where younger kids are terrified by what they're seeing, because those moments on the Sith planet is just really freaky. Now, overall, the stuff between Rey and Kylo Ren gets explored a lot more. We kind of get a resolution to their story. The kiss at the end really could have done without that. It felt really forced. But, his full transformation from Ben Solo to Kylo Ren back to Ben Solo and giving up his life for Rey, and so she can be, follow on the Skywalker, the Skywalker name and the saga and the legacy. That was all very, they tied that up nicely. We tied up the Emperor nicely, the First Order. There are some things that I didn't like. Now, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. First off, the stuff with Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia felt so forced to me, and it was really bad how they tried to shoehorn her in. And I know that's tough because they didn't have her die in The Last Jedi. Obviously, she was still alive at the time of that when that was filmed, and so they had to write in her death to this. but there's like 20 minutes in the beginning of the movie where Rey is talking to her and Princess Leia, and it's like Rey will say like 10 sentences and give her a whole like, we need to go on this mission, and I've really been struggling with this and that, and I'm gonna go do this, and she'll, you know, Carrie Fisher's character puts a look on her face and goes, no. And like that's the only line she has because it's all the footage they had. So it just feels really, really forced and awkward. And I'm glad that they kind of got her off the screen and they didn't ruin the rest of the movie with this awkwardness. You know, it was a fine tribute to her, sacrificed her life to help her son, blah, blah, blah. But it felt so forced, and it's too bad because Princess Leia probably deserves a better exit, and they just couldn't give it to her with Carrie Fisher's passing. But I think they kind of butchered what they did put in this movie. I also don't fully understand the First Order spy, and you know, he was such a what's his General Hux, right? And he was such a major character in The Force Awakens, major character in The Last Jedi, and he shows up for 30 seconds. Oh, now he's a spy. He conveniently helps everybody escape. And then they just kill him right away. It's like, well, what was the point of this character the whole time? Had he been a spy the whole time? Did he just decide to become a spy? He just hates Kylo Ren. Like, what was his whole deal? That felt kind of just tossed in there. But again, probably something The Last Jedi should have explored more and didn't if they were going to lead into that in the third movie. But the things that I liked, lightsaber duels were very cool. I really like all the stuff with Emperor Palpatine. I love Palpatine as a villain. I really like his stuff. Hearing that voice again, that just in kind of trying to turn Rey to the dark side, that was really cool. Again, feels a lot like Return of the Jedi, but is what it is. It's wrapping up a saga like that one was. Also really liked the last battle. Some of the scenes on the Star Destroyers were really cool. There's a lot of good space action. Of course, it did sort of feel like Avengers Endgame, where it was like, oh, we're going to lose. And then, whew, everybody's here to save the day, like one of those things. So Disney may have borrowed some aspects from that for the last battle in Endgame and the last battle in Rise of the Skywalker. But that was a really cool sequence, probably one of the best battle sequences that they've done overall. Reminded me a little bit of the one at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, and how that started. That kind of, it was a really nice space battle towards the end of Rise of Skywalker. And, you know, I liked, there's a lot of call outs and a lot of fan service. Obviously bringing back Lando. They brought back one of the pilots from the original series who used to fly with Luke. He was like the commander. He was like the main guy that Luke always flew with. He was on screen for like 5 seconds, but I recognized him. They had a lot of voices. Now, they talked about cameos, and there was talk that like Hayden Christensen was going to get a cameo and blah, blah, you know, all these other past Jedis. They don't actually get cameos. It's just a voice. So that was kind of like disappointing. I kept waiting for them to show up and do something cool with Force ghosts, but that felt forced. And so it is what it is. Returning Han Solo, getting him in even as a memory or as a ghost to kind of push Kylo Ren back to becoming Ben Solo. That was a nice touch because I'm glad Han gets to get in this last movie. He's been such a huge part of it, and killing him off in The Force Awakens was a huge shock. So I'm glad to see him back and Harrison Ford get his send-off. And then the coolest parts for me were the fight in the end in the Sith Temple with Kylo Ren fighting, at that point, Ben Solo fighting the Knights of Ren, and then Rey fighting off all the Emperor's guards. That was a really cool sequence. And then it was super cool to see Rey's like full power and to see how her and Kylo Ben could really communicate. They did a really cool thing with the lightsaber at one point, basically like passing it through space and time from one to another. Super cool stuff like that they explored. And so that's all the kind of mythology too. They explored how powerful like the dark side can really be, how powerful a Jedi can really be, because even in the first 6 movies in this series, you don't really get a full grasp of like how powerful are these people. We never really see a super powerful Jedi other than I guess Yoda. Obi-Wan's pretty good, but they never really explore the other things they can do. They explore like, look at me, I can jump, I can do this with my hands and push people away, and I'm really good at fighting. But like the life force stuff, the connection to people, the spiritual stuff like that the Jedi have and the dark side has that was really cool that they explored all that and kind of expanded on the mythology. Overall, this movie, people are saying, oh, it's a 1 out of 10, it's a 2 out of 10, it's garbage, don't waste your time on it. I don't think that's fair. As a fan, I went into this with basically no expectations, and I think that's the key. And coming out of it, I would give it a 6 or a 7 out of 10. It's not the greatest Star Wars movie ever made, but J.J. Abrams did a good job considering he basically had a first movie that worked, a second movie which didn't, and screwed a bunch of stuff up, and he had to take that and clean the whole thing up and finish this trilogy with this third movie. I think he did a good job with that. It's definitely like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me. Not nearly as bad as a lot of people are saying online. It has a plot, it has a story. They wrap up a lot of loose ends. Sure, there's still some cheesiness, like, okay, Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter. Her last name is Rey Palpatine. It's like, guys, we have a galaxy with millions and trillions of planets and trillions of people and creatures. How does all of it come down to the same family all the time? It's like we've got the Palpatines and we've got the Skywalkers. Is that it? Nobody else has done anything? Like, that's a bit of a stretch for me. I didn't love that ending for Rey. But it was cool to kind of see her explore that in the same way Luke did with his father in Return of the Jedi. She was kind of exploring, what is this power that I have? I see myself in the dark side. Why? And then she finds out and she struggles with that and the back and forth. It was really cool. So yeah, overall, 6.5, 7 out of 10 for a score. And now for the technical aspects, the one thing I really liked, I saw this in IMAX, the sound was awesome and the picture was incredible because they shot this on 35 millimeter and it has a 4K DI. So this should be a really good 4K release. I was super impressed. Colors were awesome. Detail was incredible, and I think this is going to be an awesome looking 4K disc. They are putting out the entire Skywalker saga on 4K, so it will have all 9 movies going back episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, prequels, original trilogy, and this new trilogy, all 9 in 4K. You're not getting original versions of the original trilogy, but this is the first time that 7 of those 9 will be available in 4K. On physical, because right now only The Last Jedi is, and I think The Rise of Skywalker is going to be a crazy good 4K release. So that being said, hopefully this gave you some idea of my thoughts. I just want to kind of talk about it, and I don't think it's as bad as people say it is, and so I don't want to turn people away from this movie because I think it does tie up a lot of things and gives a lot of fan service, and people are complaining about that, but as a fan, I appreciate it, and they did find a way to turn what was kind of a turd on, episode 8 into a nice, polished finish. Plot holes forgiving. We got a pretty good ending, I think, considering where this could have gone. So I can't complain as a fan. I'm really looking forward to more movies. I'm hoping they explore some more stuff. I was thinking last night I'd love to see like a Darth Vader standalone movie, maybe sometime between episode 3 and episode 4, where he really becomes Darth Vader, because we just see him put on the mask and then we don't see him again until he's in full-blown Darth Vader mode 20 years later, ruling the galaxy. And so something in between that would be really cool. Obviously the Disney Plus stuff, The Mandalorian, the Obi-Wan series, there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out. So I'm hoping they can translate that into some interesting movies, maybe go back and show some more Jedi, before Anakin Skywalker, like what was the world like, all the different powers that these people had, different conflicts, introduce some new villains, some new good guys. Like let's try to mix it up. And I think they will. I think that they're kind of washed their hands of Luke and Vader and, the Emperor and all that. It seems like it's done as part of a trilogy. And so I'm hoping they kind of go back into the past, maybe like Star Wars, The Old Republic type stuff, because that's really interesting. So anyway, thank you for watching this. I know I rambled a bit, I talked a lot, but I appreciate you guys watching this. I asked people, do you want my thoughts? The majority said yes, and so I wanted to do it for you. So thank you for watching this. Please follow me on Instagram. Check out all the links down in the description. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I would say go see Rise of Skywalker in theaters. I think it's well worth it. And if you can see it in IMAX because of the technical presentation, I think that's also worth upgrading your ticket. It was really well done. So, thanks for watching this one. Stay tuned for more videos. I'll have a best of 2019 coming. I'll have a video detailing some of the stuff I get over Christmas, because I'm sure I'll get movie gifts and all kinds of other stuff. So stay tuned for that. Make sure your notifications are on. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys soon.